overcome trouble with. And I say to you, no more is that okay. I want to know where you are today. So please comment down to let us know while I find what I want to share in the lead up to 10:10 when I go live, and when we can read out the book and chapter on recovering a sense of integrity. I hope that you will find what we're gonna do valuable, and I say to you, it's about where we are going. Mad Hatter's music, peaceful inner warriors, it is true. What I wanted to show you were thoughts on the song Rise, so I'll go live over there and share my screen with you, because it's true that I want to find what's good in the hood. It's slow because there's so much going on. So here we go. This is one of the contributors for the compilation CD that we are doing, actually. So as we get into the flow, I am going to get it full screen. This is Inner Me CD by Shimmer Johnson, and it's just a really beautiful.
Is this universe against me? I feel so broken down. I need someone to wake me from my watership down. Make peace with broken pieces, feet firm on the ground. Repair without repeating, 'cause repeating's when we drown. Always be loved, always be strong, always have faith, always be alone. Never lose strength, never lose hope, never lose heart, never lose soul. No holding down, no holding down. Face my feet. No holding back, no holding back. See things clear. I will rise up, I will rise up. Not to me. I will rise up, I will rise up. My inner voice destroyed me, that angry part of me. I learned not to listen to the wind reach through the trees. Always be loved, always be strong, always have faith, always be alone. No holding down, no holding down. Face my feet. No holding back, no holding back. See things clear. I will rise up, I will rise up. Not to me. I may not be perfect, I will rise. I will always rise. No matter how low I fall, I will rise. My sacrifice, even when I lose. My sacrifice, even when I lose it all,
I will rise.
I will rise up, I will rise up. I will rise up, I will rise up.
Oh, oh, sometimes we falter before I say no thanks, skip ads, and then don't start the next one because it's time for us to do what we came here for. Let us turn on the light and then get it nearby so it can be part of the lighting that helps us to actually give you the best experience. That's what I hope. I hope that you know that I am here to say I am just a crazy one who's willing to be myself. It's 10, 11, and we have a chance to then recover the part of us that is the creator inside. So the artist who paints beauty with her words or with her art, or his, depending on who you are. Please know that you are one too, even if you haven't identified as one. The truth is you cannot be anything but a one who creates, and then we are called to come together to recover a sense of integrity. It is week 4, and alas, I say there is more. So if you haven't yet tuned into any of the others, I'm making them more accessible. I'll get it up soon. I'm doing my best, and I'll say once again, if you've not heard it before, failure to plan is failing to plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail, essentially, is the point. There's no need to have that on the screen because what we are doing now is what we came here for. So if you are not yet settled, please get yourself into a space. And also actually realize only I need to be settled in this moment, technically, because I'm reading. You have the freedom to do what feels fun to you. So as I read through The Artist's Way, the chapter on recovering our integrity today, I would like to have you do something that honors you. So whether it be go for a walk out in nature while listening to this, or whether it be you do some handstands and a yoga class or some kind of movement series that's going to honor the physical form that your soul came here in, please do that. I'm not attached to you just sitting here doing nothing with me simply because I have to in order to focus and do what is required, but you don't, so I hope you won't. I hope you'll take advantage, and when I listen to the replay at some point, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to move through it because what I know is that if we don't move it, we lose access to it, and so that's the message for today. Come along and play. Recovering a sense of integrity. This week, you may find yourself grappling with changing self-definition. This essays, tasks, and exercises are designed to catapult you into productive introspection and integration of new self-awareness. This may be both very difficult and extremely exciting for you. Warning, do not skip the tool of reading deprivation. Honest changes. Working with the morning pages, which are the first 3 pages that we write in first thing in the morning, just to get our creative juices flowing and to put the I don't know what to say at bay, because then we just say, I don't know what to say. I am feeling really silly doing this today, and I saw a butterfly on the printer, and that made me think about this, which made me think about this, and then you're in the flow. So that's how simple it is. Working with the morning pages, we begin to sort through the differences between our real feelings, which are often secret, and our official feelings, those on the record for public display. Official feelings are often indicated by the phrase, I feel okay about that, the job loss or dating someone else, my dad's death. What do you mean by I feel okay? The morning pages force us to get specific. Does I feel okay mean I feel resigned, accepting, comfortable, detached, numb, tolerant, pleased, or satisfied? What does it mean? Okay is a blanket word for most of us. It covers all sorts of squirmy feelings, and it frequently signals a loss. So does fine, which is not in the text, but if you use it as an acronym, it is fed up, or a few extra flavorful letters if you choose, insecure, negative, naive, neurotic, and emotional. So if anyone says I'm fine, it means they're not, and they don't want to talk about it, generally speaking, I've observed. So okay is a blanket word for most of us. It covers all sorts of squirmy feelings, and it frequently signals a loss. We officially feel okay, but do we? At the root of a successful creative recovery is the commitment to puncture our denial, to stop saying it's okay when in fact it's something else. The morning pages press us to answer, what else? In my years of watching people work with morning pages, I have noticed that many tend to neglect or abandon the pages whenever an unpleasant piece of clarity is about to emerge. If we are, for example, very, very angry but not admitting it, then we will be tempted to say, I feel okay about that. The morning pages will not allow us to get away with this evasion, so we tend to avoid them. If we have the creeping feeling that our lover is not being totally honest with us, the morning pages are liable to bring this creepy possibility up, and with it, the responsibility for an unsettling conversation. Rather than face this mess, we will mess up on doing the morning pages. By contrast, if we're suddenly and madly in love, the morning pages may seem threatening. We don't want to puncture the fragile and shiny bubble of our happiness. We want to stay lost in the sea of blissful us rather than be reminded that there is an I in the we, or an I in the we, that is temporarily blinded. In short, extreme emotions of any kind, the very thing that morning pages are superb for processing, are the usual triggers for avoiding the pages themselves. Just as an athlete accustomed to running becomes irritable when he is unable to get his miles in, so too those of us accustomed now to morning pages will notice an irritability when we let them slide. We are tempted always to reverse cause and effect. I was too crabby to write them, instead of I didn't write them, so I am crabby. Over any considerable period of time, the morning pages prefer spiritual chiropractic. They realign our values. If we are to the left or the right of our personal truth, the pages will point out the need for a course adjustment. We will become aware of our drift and correct it, if only to hush the pages up. To thine own self be true, the pages say, while busily pointing that self out. It was in the pages that Mickey, a painter, first learned she wanted to write comedy. No wonder all her friends were writers. So was she. Chekhov advised, if you want to work on your art, work on your life. That's another way of saying that in order to have self-expression, we must first have a self to express. That is the business of the morning pages. I, myself, feel this way, and that way, and this way. No one else need agree with me, but this is what I feel. The process of identifying a self inevitably involves loss as well as gain. We discover our boundaries, and those boundaries by definition separate. And those boundaries by definition separate us from our fellows. As we clarify our perceptions, we lose our misconceptions. As we eliminate ambiguity, we lose illusion as well. We arrive at clarity, and clarity creates change. I have outgrown this job may appear in the morning pages. At first, it is a troubling perception. Over time, it becomes a call for action and then an action plan. This marriage is not working for me, the morning pages say, and then I wonder about couples therapy, and then I wonder if I'm not just bored with me. In addition to posing problems, the pages may also pose solutions. I am bored with me. It would be fun to learn French, or I noticed a sign just down the block for a clay and fiber class. That sounds interesting. As we notice which friends bore us, which situations leave us stifled, we are often rocked by waves of sorrow. We may want our illusions back. We want to pretend the friendship works. We don't want the trauma of searching for another job. Faced with impending change we have set in motion through our own hand, we want to mutiny, curl up in a ball, bawl our eyes out. No pain, no gain, the nasty slogan has it, and we resent this pain no matter what gain it is bringing us. I don't want to raise my consciousness, we wail. I want, and thanks to the morning pages, we learn what we want and ultimately become willing to make the changes needed to get it, but not without a tantrum. And without a kriya, a Sanskrit word meaning a spiritual emergency or surrender. I always think of kriyas as spiritual seizures. Perhaps they should be spelled kriyas, C-R-I-A-S, because they are cries of the soul as it is wrung through changes. We all know what a kriya looks like. It is the bad case of the flu right after you've broken up with your lover. It's the rotten head cold and bronchial cough that announces you've abused your health to meet an unreachable work deadline. That asthma attack out of nowhere when you've done a round of caretaking your alcoholic sibling, it's a kriya too. Always significant, frequently psychosomatic. Kriyas are the final insult our psyche adds to our injuries. Get it? A kriya asks you, get it. You can't stay with this abusive lover. You can't work at a job that demands 80 hours a week. You can't rescue a brother who needs to save himself. Each painting has its own way of evolving. When the painting is finished, the subject reveals itself. William Vaziotis. Eliminate something superfluous from your life. Break a habit. Do something that makes you feel insecure. Piero Ferrucci. Stop thinking and talking about it, and there is nothing you will not be able to know. A Zen paradigm. In 12-step groups, kriyas are often called surrenders. People are told, just let go, and they would if they knew what they were holding on to. With the morning pages in place and the artist dates in motion, the radio set stands half a chance of picking up the message you are sending and or receiving. The pages round up the usual suspects. They mention the small hurts we prefer to ignore, the large successes we fail to acknowledge. In short, the morning pages point the way to reality. This is how you're feeling. What do you make of that? And what we make of that is often art. People frequently believe the creative life is grounded in fantasy. The more difficult truth is that creativity is grounded in reality, in particular the focused, the well-observed, or specifically imagined. As we lose our vagueness about ourselves, our values, our life situation, we become available to the moment. It is there in the particular that we contact the creative self. Until we experience the freedom of solitude, we cannot connect authentically. We may be enmeshed, but we are not encountered. Art lies in the moment of encounter. We meet our truth and we meet ourselves. We meet ourselves and we meet our self-expression. We become original because we become something specific, an origin from which work flows. As we gain or regain our creative identity, we lose the false self we were sustaining. The loss of this false self we feel traumatic. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't recognize me. Remember that the more you feel yourself to be terra incognita, the more certain you can be that the recovery process is working. You are your own promised land, your own new frontier. Shifts in taste and perception frequently accompany shifts in identity. One of the clearest signals that something healthy is afoot is the impulse to weed out, sort through, and discard old clothes, papers, and belongings. I don't need this anymore, we say as we toss a low self-worth shirt into a giveaway pile. I'm sick of this broken down dresser and its 16 coats of paint as the dresser goes off to Goodwill. By tossing out the old and unworkable, we make way for the new and suitable. A closet stuffed with ratty old clothes does not invite new ones. A house overflowing with odds and ends and tidbits you've held on to for some day has no space for the things that might actually enhance today. When the search and discard impulse seizes you, two cross currents are at work. The old you is leaving and grieving, while the new you celebrates and grows strong. As with any rupture, there is both tension and relief. Long-seated depression breaks up like an ice float. Long frozen feelings thaw, melt, cascade, flood, and often overrun their container, which is you. You may find yourself feeling volatile and changeable. You are. Be prepared for bursts of tears and laughter. A certain giddiness may accompany sudden stabs of loss. Think of yourself as an accident victim walking away from the crash. Your old life has crashed and burned. Your new life isn't apparent yet. You may feel yourself to be temporarily without a vehicle. Just keep walking. If this description sounds dramatic, it is only to prepare you for possible emotional pyrotechnics. You may not have them. Your changes may be more like cloud movements, from overcast to partly cloudy. It is important to know that no matter which form your growth takes, there is another kind of change, slower and more subtle, accumulating daily, whether you sense its presence or not. Nothing dramatic is happening to me. I don't think the process is working. I have often been told by someone who, from my perspective, is changing at the speed of light. The analogy that I use is that once we engage in the process of morning pages and the artist dates, we begin to move at such velocity that we do not even realize the pace. Just travelers on a jet are seldom aware of their speed unless they hit a patch of turbulence. So too, travelers on the artist's way are seldom aware of the speed of their growth. This is a form of denial that can tempt us to abort the recovery process that isn't happening to us. Oh yes, it is. When we have engaged the Creator within to heal us, many changes and shifts in our attitudes begin to occur. I enumerate some of them here because many of these will not be recognizable at first as healing. In fact, they may seem crazy and even destructive. At best, they may seem eccentric. There will be a change in energy patterns. Your dreams will become stronger and clearer, both by night and by day. You will find yourself remembering your nighttime dreams, and by day, daydreams will catch your attention. Fantasy of a benign and unexpected sort will begin to crop up. Many areas of your life that previously seemed to fit will stop fitting. Half your wardrobe may start to look funny. You may decide to reupholster a couch or just toss it out. Musical bents may alter. There may even be bursts of spontaneous singing, dancing, running. You may feel or find your candor unsettling. I don't like that is a sentence that will leave your mouth, or I think that's great. In short, your tastes and judgments and personal identity will begin to show through. What you have been doing is wiping the mirror. Each day's morning pages take a swipe at the blur you have kept between you and your real self. As your image becomes clearer, it may surprise you. You may discover very particular likes and dislikes that you hadn't acknowledged. A fondness of cactuses. So why do you have these pots of ivy? A dislike for brown? So why do you keep wearing that sweater if you never feel right in it? Conditioned as we are to accept other people's definitions of us, this emerging individuality can seem to us like self-will run riot. It is not. The snowflake pattern of your soul is emerging. Each of us is a unique creative individual, but we often blur that uniqueness with sugar, alcohol, drugs, overwork, underplay, bad relations, toxic sex, under-exercise, over-TV, undersleep, many and varied forms of junk food for the soul. The pages help us to see these smears on our consciousness. If you look over the time you have been doing your morning writing, you will see that many changes have entered your life as a result of your willingness to clear room in it for your Creator's action. You will have noticed an increased, sometimes disconcerting sense of personal energy, some bursts of anger, some flash points of clarity. People and objects may have taken on a different meaning to you. There will be a sense of the flow of life, that You are brought into new vistas as you surrender to moving with the flow of God. This is clear already. You may well be experiencing a sense of both bafflement and faith. You are no longer stuck, but you cannot tell where you are going. You may feel that this can't keep up. You may long for the time when there was no sense of possibility, when you felt more victimized, when you didn't realize how many small things you could do to improve your own life. It's normal to yearn for some rest when you are moving so rapidly. What you will learn to do is rest in motion, like lying down on a boat. Your morning pages are your boat. They will both lead you forward and give you a place to recuperate from your forward action. It is difficult for us to realize that this process of going inside and writing pages can open an inner door through which our Creator helps and guides us. Our willingness swings this inner door open. The morning pages symbolize our willingness to speak to and hear God. They lead us into many other changes that also come from God and lead us to God. This is the hand of God moving through your hand as you write. It is very powerful. One technique that can be very reassuring at this point is to use your morning pages or part of them for written affirmation of your process. Put it in writing, we often say when making a deal. To become truly immortal, a work of art must escape all human limits. Logic and common sense will only interfere. But once these barriers are broken, it will enter the realms of childhood visions and dreams. Giorgio de Chirico. I don't know. Chirico? Chirico. The center that I cannot find is known to my unconscious mind. W.H. Auden. All you need to do to receive guidance is to ask for it and then listen. Sinea Roman. There's a special power in writing out the deal we are making with our Creator. I receive your good willingly, and thy will be done are two short affirmations that, when written in the morning, remind us to be open to increase good during the day. I trust my perceptions is another powerful affirmation to use as we undergo shifts in identity. A stronger and clearer me is emerging. Choose affirmations according to your need. As you excavate your buried dreams, you need the assurance that such explorations are permissible. I recover and enjoy my identity. Buried dreams, an exercise. You ready? I'm gonna drink my coffee. But seriously, I did realize shortly ago that I didn't really give an introduction, so I wanted to do that now at 10:33. I want to say that this week we've got some exciting things coming, and I just actually got up a video onto my YouTube channel with Michael Seegers, which is the Michael and Laura Show. So I posted one about birth dates, karma, and the cosmic clock that I really hope that you will check out. It was the same day. I just changed my shirt, and I recorded the video with Michael about Mother Mary and the Rosary, and she was actually focused on the Rosary Crusades. In that message was part of what we were sharing that really inspired within me the inkling to say, hey, if we actually band together and are willing to learn how to use the sacred word, which is the sword that can be used for our greater good, then we could seriously change so much in this world that we can't even comprehend it just yet. Now, I wanted to come over here because I know that there is something I wanted to grab, and yet I forget what it is, and so my bad. What did I want to get for you? I completely forget. Mother Mary will be coming up, though, with the Rosary as the message that we'll be getting into Thursday, as per usual, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be getting together for the Lawfully Organized Summit. So it's for Peaceful Inner Warriors United, looking to actually take action to learn our rights, because if we don't know our rights, we don't have any. And so those were things I wanted to share with you. You've got full view of my messy teaching corner right now. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you just got to say good enough is good enough. And it is not about the mess. It is about the message of the Messiah who turned the connection upward of the M of the Messiah am into the Messiah with a direct connection that does not need any middleman in between us and the divine, because that little cross at the top of the eyes of the Chinese character for to attentively listen is the higher self connection. That means we don't need a church or a government or anything to stand between us and our birthright as a sovereign being of the lands of our own soul, the one that our soul governs, which is our body. And so it is to know that the war currently against humanity is for not just body, it is for heart, soul, and mind too. These are all pieces of real estate people are not understanding the connection of. So I hope you will. And I hope you'll join us on Thursday at 4. It is around the Article 61 of the 1215 Magna Carta. And if you have questions or you don't believe it, come. And please bring those too, because I want to open the platform to conversation. I want it to be where people can share their doubts and their concerns, and then to be able to realize that in perpetuity means forever binding. And it says it in 3 places within the 1215 Magna Carta, and millions of Canadian taxpayer dollars went towards celebrating the 800th anniversary of it, when the 1297 Magna Carta that is said to have replaced it, that the police, which are actually peace officers working for a corporation, which we know, but there's just so much authority given to the positions that we forget the ties and the connections, and how if we don't know our rights, we don't have any. So I say, because the 1297 wasn't celebrated and that's what they go by, if you are an officer of the law, please come and share your perspective. And then we'll be able to all stand together and say, hey, the light's on. And now we know that we're the powerful ones and that we elected you and that you can be held personally responsible too. So please get yourself in right order with God, the grand overall designer, which you will call to, which you will return to, and which you will have to do the review of your soul. And what I say with all of what I'm doing is that we only have to transmute 51% of our karma in order to become the ascended masters that Jesus was, because up above us by the silver cord is actually the Christos consciousness, and then the I am that I am above that. And so when we actually can remember who we truly are and get ourselves corded back in correctly, that then is when we are truly able to be the artists on our way back home to our heart center, which is where the threefold flame exists. And that is where wisdom, power, and love intertwine in the sacred chamber of the soul, or the sacred chamber of the heart, which Michael Seegers and I did another part of the Michael Amora show bonus video in on exactly that, because it's what I felt somebody had asked and needed to know, and so I wanted to make available to all else too. So I please do hope you'll go there and check that out. And then also on Thursday nights, that maybe was what I was coming over to grab. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're reading the second part of, or the second pillar of the teachings of the Ascended Masters, which is Saint Germain on alchemy. Now, Jesus is in the frame, but behind him is Saint Germain. You've seen him in many of my other videos, and if you haven't, go check one out at Laura J.E. Hamilton, and you'll be able to see how I flip between but I flip between Jesus and then Saint Germain, who is ultimately the one who gifted humanity with the violet flame, which is used to transmute karma, both from this lifetime and past ones too, and understand that dis-ease is cellular disharmony within the cells, cells, of our body that we either fill with faith or fear, which make it into the self. So all of that was my little side track that ultimately puts us perfectly on course. So I'm going to get back to buried dreams and exercise, and hope that on Thursday at 4 for this Lawfully Organized Summit, you can join us, and you will be brave enough to bring your questions and your doubts, and also where you are in the process of standing under Article 61 that was evoked March 23rd, 2001 by the barons, who used the clause, as they have several times throughout our history, when the crown was treasonous, and we, the people, were called to take a stand for ourselves in a way that abusive parents won't. So, buried dreams, an exercise. As recovering creatives, we often have to excavate our own paths for the shards of buried dreams and delights. Do a little digging, please. Be fast and frivolous. This is an exercise in spontaneity, so be sure to write your answers out quickly. Speed kills the censor. 1. List 5 hobbies that sound fun. 2. List 5 classes that sound fun. 3. List 5 things you personally would never do that sounds fun. 4. List 5 skills that would be fun to have. 5. List 5 things you enjoy. 5. List 5 things you used to enjoy doing. 6. List 5 silly things you would like to try once. As you may have gathered by this point in your work, we will approach certain problems from many different angles, all of them aimed at eliciting more information from your unconscious about what you might consciously enjoy. The exercise that follows will teach you enormous amounts about yourself, as well as giving you some free time in which to pursue the interests you just listed. Reading deprivation. If you feel stuck in your life or in your art, few jump starts are more effective than a week of reading deprivation. No reading? That's right, no reading. For most artists, words are like tiny tranquilizers. We have a daily quota of media chat that we swallow up. Like greasy food, it clogs our system. Too much of it, and we feel, yes, fried. It's a paradox that by emptying our lives of distractions, we are actually filling the well. Without distractions, we are once again thrust into the sensory world. With no newspaper to shield us, a train becomes a viewing gallery. With no novel to sink into and no television to numb us out, an evening becomes a vast savanna in which furniture and other assumptions get rearranged. Reading deprivation casts us into our inner silence, a space some of us begin to immediately fill with new words. Long, gossipy conversations, television binging, the radio as a constant, chatty companion. We often cannot hear our own inner voice, the voice of our artist's inspiration above the static. In practicing reading deprivation, we need to cast a watchful eye on these other pollutants. They poison the well. If we monitor the inflow and keep it to a minimum, we will be rewarded for our reading deprivation with embarrassing speed. Our reward will be a new outflow, our own art, our own thoughts and feelings. We will begin to nudge aside the sludge of blockage, to loosen it and move it upward and outward until once again our well is running freely. Reading deprivation is a very powerful tool and a very frightening one. Even thinking about it can bring up enormous rage. For most blocked artists or creatives, reading is an addiction. We gobble the words of others rather than digest our own thoughts and feelings, rather than cook up something of our own. In my teaching, the week that I assign reading deprivation is always a tough one. I go to the podium knowing that I will be the enemy. I break the news that we won't be reading, and then I brace myself for the waves of antagonism and sarcasm that follow. At least one student always explains to me, pointedly in no uncertain terms, that he or she is a very important and busy person with duties and obligations that include reading. This information is inevitably relayed in with a withering tone that implies I am an idiot child, an artistic flake, unable to grasp the complexities of an adult's life. I just listen. When the rage has been vented, when all the assigned reading for college courses and jobs has been mentioned, I point out that I have had jobs and I have gone to college, and that in my experience, I had many times wriggled out of reading for a week due to procrastination. As blocked creatives, we can be very creative at wriggling out of things. I ask my class to turn their creativity to wriggling into not reading. But what will we do comes next. Here's a brief list of some things that people do when they are not reading. Listen to music, make curtains, wash the dogs, sort closets, pay bills, write old friends, repot some plants, mend, knit, cook, fix the bike, watercolor, rewire the lamp, paint the bedroom, rearrange the kitchen, work out, meditate, have friends to dinner, get the stereo working, sort bookshelves, a dangerous one, go dancing. Even at the safe remove of the written word, I can feel the shockwaves of antagonism about trying this tool. I will tell you that those who have most resisted it have come back the most smugly rewarded for having done it. The nasty bottom line is this: sooner or later, if you are not reading, you will run out of work and be forced to play. You'll light some incense or put on an old jazz record or paint a shelf turquoise, and then you will feel not just better, but actually a little excited. Don't read. If you can't think of anything else to do, cha-cha, cha-cha, cha-cha. If you can't think of anything else to do, cha-cha. Yes, you can read and do this week's tasks. When the soul wishes to experience something, she throws an image of the experience out before her and enters into her own image. Meister Eckhart. In a dark time, the eye begins to see. Theodore Roethke. Roethke. Some of these names I completely butcher. I'm sorry. I do my best. Tasks. Number 1, environment. Describe your ideal environment. Town, country, swank, cozy, one paragraph, one image, drawn or clipped that conveys this. What's your favorite season? Why? Go through some magazines and find an image of this, or draw it. Place it near your working area. 2, travel time. Describe yourself at 80. What did you do after 50 that you enjoyed? Be very specific. Now write a letter from you at 80 to you at your current age. What would you tell yourself? What interests would you urge yourself to pursue? What dreams would you encourage? Travel time. Number 3, remember yourself at 8. What did you like to do? What were your favorite things? Now write a letter from you at 8 to you at your current age. What would you tell yourself? Environment 4, look at your house. Is there any room that you could make into a secret private space for yourself? Convert the TV room, buy a screen or hang a sheet or cordon off a section of some other room. This is your dream area. It should be decorated for fun and not as an office. All you really need is a chair or pillow, something to write on, some kind of little altar area for flowers and candles. This is to help you center on the fact that creativity is a spiritual, not an ego issue. 5, use your life pie from week 1 to review your growth. Has that nasty tarantula changed shape yet? Haven't you been more active, less rigid, more expressive? Be careful not to expect too much too soon. That's raising the jumps. Growth must have time to solidify into health. One day at a time, you are building the habit patterns of a healthy artist. Easy does do it. List ongoing self-nurturing toys you could buy your artist. Books on tape, magazine subscriptions, theater tickets, a bowling ball. 6, write your own artist's prayer, which we've read on page 207, 208 when we first got started with this. Use it every day for a week. 7, an extended artist date. Plan a small vacation for yourself. One weekend day. Get ready to execute it. 8, open your closet. Throw out or hand on or donate one low self-worth outfit. You know the outfit. Make space for the new one. 9, look at one situation in your life that you feel you should change but haven't yet. What is the payoff for you staying stuck in it? And 10, if you break your reading deprivation, write about how you did it. In a tantrum, a slip-up, a binge, how do you feel about it and why? I learned that the real creator was my inner self, the Shakti. That desire to do something is God inside talking through us. Michelle Shih. Check-in. How many days this week did you do your morning pages? Tantrums often show up as skipping the morning pages. How was the experience for you? 2, did you do your artist date this week? Does your artist get to do more than rent a movie? What did you do? How did you feel? 3, did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? And 4, were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. That, my friends, brings us to next week's lesson on recovering a sense of possibility. Now, I do hope that you are willing to go through and take what resonates for you. There is so much in this life, and there are so many people that are offering tools and paths that you can go down, and this is one. And I share it because it has loads of tools that you can use, and ultimately what I'm trying to propose is that we actually bring the best into our own sacred practice, which becomes the special practice we use to honor all of who and whose we truly are. We're going to be getting deeper into that next month, and in the meantime, I need to plan it out properly so that I am prepared to be able to give you everything that I would be giving you anyway in a more haphazard way that ultimately means it's not as beneficial as if I were to actually structure it better, which is what I'm intending to do, and will be sending to my list as we wrap up the 33 Days to Dream a New Dream Together series via ljeh.ca. If you're not already subscribed to my emails, then please do go there, and then you'll be able to receive an email every day that I am able to get one out to my people. And ultimately, what I do with those messages is aim to inspire you to reach for your highest level that you have access to. And that oftentimes comes in the form of a thought. And so I hope that this message was useful to you. I do want to also actually share with you Earth Magic Oracle cards. I would like to leave it up so you could see it, but I don't know how to do it, so I won't. Earth Magic by Stephen D. Farmer. So you've got a little booklet to go with it, and I see that Wolf is at the bottom, which is interesting because when I was in England, Rita Davies was an amazing masseuse that I had the pleasure of finding because my ex was looking for someone for a particular thing that I found her, and then basically reached out and got to connect with her. And these two cards are the ones that showed. And what I said about Rita and why I brought it up is because I have an interview with her from 2 weeks ago. I haven't had a chance to edit yet, but I wanted to do that so that I could share it with you. And one of the things that happened as to what made Rita such a powerful and significant person in my life is because I was on her table one day and I started working with her myself, not just my ex. And ultimately she started channeling and said, "Little white wolf," and started telling me a story about how I had been alive during a time in humanity's history when we were hurting the planet, and my heart couldn't take it. And so I went into the inner world, which I didn't know anything about, but apparently there are portals, and in Tibet there is one and there is another elsewhere too. But if you look at the CIA gateway process, then you'll see that we are actually the white and black hole as the portal that opens us to all things, which is why all time is happening now, like the multidimensional layer cake, that we are taught is other than taught. It is lateral when actually it is not. So lateral, linear. So I got that wrong too, but I'm not perfect. And I always say to you, that's not the point. It is about being willing to be volatile by being ourselves, and to know that life is about shape-shifting and changing, and also basking in the stillness. So make some time for that too. Just like I did for all those years when my soul was underground, evidently in the retreats and the sacred centers, learning and preparing for my mission here now, which sounds crazy. I know, and my body feels hot when I say it, so I don't know what specifically is going on, but I do know that there is a radiance when we are willing to stand in our truth, when we are willing to say, I don't know why or how this is true or if it is, but all I know is that it resonated when I heard it, and so I am willing to do my best. I promise to do my best, and I hope that you will too. There was a full moon, new moon, I don't know which, last night, in fact. So I say that at 10:55. There will be a lot coming up around this time, and so we have to just know that we are supported. Everything is effortless and fluid and flawless if we are willing to get into the flow and to remember our power and to stop giving it away to authority figures outside of us that say it's okay to hurt one another. It's not. We need to stop that crap. It's a wake-up call. Please, let us not have to reach the heights of a tsunami in order to finally be nice and kind to one another and release those patterns of hurting one another for the sake of what? This is your activation, the reminder that we must blow the winds of change into the souls of the ones who have become soulless. It is effortless for us to be able to channel information when we do it with a shaman's heart. So this is where we will part for today. I say thank you once again. It was effortless, and I appreciated the fun that we were able to have together. If you are interested in working with me and getting some messages, I'm going to start doing some empowerment mentoring that will allow us to create a special practice together. And I was waiting for a jumper, and we got it, with DNA being karmic. And that is very poignant and symbolic, because what I want to say too, and that I have said many times in different mediums, is that the thing that people are calling a V, and I know that this is very controversial, and there will be many that want to just turn it off right now, and there will be others who dislike me because of my willingness to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. What is being injected into people right now and being made using propaganda to seem like a stoic act of nationalism, to receive the thing that is said to protect the herd, when in October 2020, the definition of herd immunity was changed. Did you know that? No, it wasn't advertised, but now it is all about the V thing that is said to enhance tribal immunity, and it is not. All it is doing is changing the DNA with things that are not us. It is the RNA that are messengers within the DNA that karmically we have a responsibility now to say, no, we will not change who we are at the bottom, effortlessness. When we are willing to take a stand for our sovereignty and say, I don't need my DNA to be changed, when pharmaceutical companies are not held responsible for any of the damages that come from having products injected into us that are not actually tested. So please stop calling what is being injected a V, when in fact it is an experimental biological agent. Please stop perpetuating the propaganda by giving it a term that it is not justified in having. Please understand that it is experimental and it is a biological agent, and that is all it is, because the RNA changes that take place because of what is being injected into voluntary patients. And if you're one of them, my heart goes out to you, and I hope to God that you will use the violet flame to protect yourself and transmute what is inside of you, because that, from my understanding, is the only thing that we can really do to transmute what has been put into us. And we must know that the individual is a reflection of the collective, the microcosmic expression of the macro. And so what I hope is that this is a firm enough reminder that it is not the title of the thing that make us anti-vaxxers, for instance, which I'm not specifically, other than I don't want synthetic things inside of me. And yet our food supply does enough of that. And at what point does a human being become patentable is what we must ask ourselves. It's a serious question. Seriously. I know it sounds crazy, but crazy is different. And insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. And then that's when you say, hey, did you know that Pfizer was actually one of the companies that provided the injections for the concentration camps back in the last war? Instinct tells us that what is going on is not okay. That's all. Stop calling it what it isn't. It's not been tested. The animal trials were bypassed because all animals that have been involved with mRNA altering injections all died, not immediately, but after the virus was reintroduced, after the one that had been injected was their immune levels or their antibodies had returned to a normal level, that's when the virus was then reintroduced and they all fell. So the mRNA altering effects that are not yet fully being recognized, though many are dying within days or hours of having had said injections, we have to know. Frick, man. Seriously, this is not okay. Like, wake up call. That's what I'm here to do, okay? Let us just, have the strength. Let us have the strength to do what we came here for, which is to stand for humanity. That's what I do. I'm standing for humanity, and I'm standing for the ones that don't think I need to. And I'm standing for the ones that hate me because I'm willing to. And I'm standing for the ones that don't have a voice. I am standing for the ones that don't think they have a choice. And I'm reminding each of us that we do. Thank you. I hope that this message was beneficial. I hope that you will share it. And I hope that you will go off into the day and be the shapeshifter who shows there is a way for us to move forward, and that is together. That is how we realign ourselves to the divine connection, the cord to our I am that I am presence above, that helps us remember who and whose we always were and always was. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for you tuning in today. Thank you.